before anybody jumps on me, I'm going to say this and give me a chance to explain. And, James, I love to get your thoughts on this. I think early on, maybe not against Florida State because you're going to have to score every chance you get, okay? I think that you will see this offense maybe not be as productive against some of the Fresno States of the world as you would expect. Now, I think that we're going to blow those guys out, but I think you're going to see some 3-and-outs that are going to disappoint you, and this is why, James. I think part of it is going to be, and I'm going to let Nick Saban explain it here, is what do they want Jalen to do? They want Jalen to stay in the pocket. They want Jalen to use his arms a little bit more, and they don't want him to instinctively just take off running. And against some of the lesser opponents that I think Alabama thinks they will be able to dominate, James, I think they will ask him, even on third down sometimes, to not necessarily – they won't tell him not to pick up the first down, but they would tell him to stay in that pocket and find the open guy versus like he did against Clemson when he has to, but he'll take off running. I think some of those early times when he could extend plays in those easier games when opponents who I think that we're superior to, I think you'll see him work on his progression. Nick Saban had an opportunity to catch up with campus conversations. Ivan Maisel, Chris Lowe was there, several other guys. And he was asked about Jalen and his growth. And I want to let you hear what he has to say, and then I'll come back and give you my thoughts on Jalen's growth and Tua impact as well.
Well, I think that the goal right off the bat was for him in this offseason was we've got to improve the efficiency as a passer so that we can have more balance on offense, and we just don't look to take off running rather than reading the play through and trying to get the ball down the field. You know, we've never been able to win when we weren't able to make big games, when we weren't able to make plays in the passing game. And, this year in the championship game especially, that was probably the difference in the game. You know, we did not make plays in the passing game, and eventually that led to the fact that we couldn't keep the ball, and we really kind of played too many plays on defense, and we got wore out, in the game. So, and they finished better than we did. So, but I think if Jalen can become a more consistent passer, which he's certainly made tremendous progress this spring and over the summer, that's going to make us a lot better team, and it will help us utilize some of the other talented players on our team make more plays.
There were several things in there. First of all, Nick Saban wants him to become a more efficient passer, a more balanced offense, and utilize the talent of the other weapons on the field, okay? So, efficient passer, balanced attack, and use the other players on the field, which tells me several things. First of all, they are going to want to throw the ball under Dable, okay? But they also want to make sure that it looks a lot like that team in terms of the balance that A.J. McCarron – when A.J. McCarron was here, and I'm not being precise, but they were generally within 150 to 200 yards going down the stretch of having pass and run balance in terms of what the team was doing from a passing standpoint and a running standpoint. It was always balanced in that 50-ish to 40-ish range on run, pass, run, which is absolutely amazing. And that's what Nick Saban wants to get back to. Now, does he want to get back to it just by lining up and running the ball downhill? No, he wants to use a variety of offensive schemes and approaches and sets and philosophies to get there. But no matter what the philosophy is, he wants to get there with his quarterback as much of a threat or more of a threat with his arm than his leg. Go ahead.
2012 national championship season when A.J. was a junior. As a team, Alabama averaged 218 yards through the air per game. On the ground, 227.5 yards per game.
So if you take and add that up, that's 9 yards per game more with the run. They played 14 games, so it was 9 times 14. So it was right around that 50 yard, 130 something yard difference, James, for the whole year. And that's what Nick Saban wants. But he doesn't want to get there just the same way. He wants to utilize Jalen's legs, but he also wants to utilize him as a passer. And it wasn't that he said more efficient. And what I believe he's saying is, first of all, we didn't hit any big plays down the field. So he has got to hit the big play. The other part is it's not just the big plays that we have to hit. You have to hit the crossing routes, and you got to start to hit the third and the fourth receiver, because what he talked about there is that Jalen was trusting his legs more than his arms. Okay? And that's understandable as a freshman. He's also talked in the past about not being able to develop Jalen. Jalen hasn't developed as much as he didn't develop as much, and it caught up with Alabama in the game. But I always every time I say, I have to do the caveat here, and I'm sorry, but Coach Saban, you were dominating that game running the ball. You all didn't keep running it, and I don't know why. And the other part of that is they ran like 40. Somebody need to go back and count. I think they ran somewhere between 45 and 47 plays. I think it was 47 plays or something in the first half. Even though we were winning, James, they were still getting a lot of yards in the first half. They ran, I think, 47, 48 plays in the first half. And then they ran 52 in the second half. So it wasn't that many more plays in the first half versus the second half because we weren't getting off the field. But that's not what I'm talking about. Back to Jalen Hurts and his growth. We heard all summer that Jalen has grown as a passer. Jalen has grown, and I believe he has. I believe he has a better touch on the ball. I believe he's trusting what he sees. You know, Ryan Fowler and I of the game were talking, and he wouldn't trust what he sees, so it looked like he had a little hitch in his giddy up. But now he's trusting what he sees, so he's hitting receivers in stride a little better. And I think that you're going to see that manifest itself in drive stand alive. But I want to tell you this. I think Jalen Hurts, everybody forgets, Jalen turned 19 last week or a week before. Somewhere in the last 2 weeks, Jalen Hurts turned 19. Do you realize Jalen Hurts is still growing? I think Jalen Hurts has gotten taller since he stepped on campus and started his first game. And I know he's gotten bigger and he's faster. So not only has he gotten better with his arms, he's gotten better with his legs, and I think that's going to go a long way. So the scrimmage is going to highlight Jalen Hurts in the passing, and we want to see better passing than we did last week. Tua, who struggled last week, has some growing up to do. I don't think Tua's quite 6 foot tall, even though they got him listed as 6'1". And I think he's going to, as pretty a pass as he shows and throws, Tua got some work to do to be ready at this next level. Guys, Jalen Hurts is improved. Tua has work to do. Now, when he throws the ball, he still has a beautiful pass. But he'll be going against one-on-ones. But Jalen Hurts' growth, I'm still holding out a little bit. Did he grow as much as we were told, James? I don't know yet. And D.H. Bates commenting on Facebook, maybe Jalen is smarter as well, and that's huge. If he's smarter, If he's bigger, faster, smarter, and a better passer and stronger, that means that Jalen Hurts might just win the Heisman. He's going to repeat as the SEC Offensive Player of the Year if he's given an opportunity. If he splits, maybe not. One last comment before we get to the 2-minute warning on the other side in the fourth quarter. Jason Waldrop says that always frustrates me when we're running great, then we switch to passing. And I think that what you're going to see with Dable, the reason we would do that under Kiffin, because he was a vanity play caller, great play caller, great tactician in the middle of a game, but he was notorious for having something that's working and then going away from it because he wanted to have the big aha moment. A la you go back to Ohio State, we could have kept running the ball and probably won that first college football playoff game, but we went away from it. And as a result, we end up losing. Derrick Henry was killing people with the running game, but we went away from it. So I think you'll see Dable be more consistent with whatever's working. I think he's going to exploit it until they stop it with some variations. Now, he may approach it about 3 or 4 different ways, but he'll hit that weak spot continually, and I think that's going to be the biggest difference between Dable and Kiffin. Is if it's working, he may not attack it the exact same way, but he will attack the exact same weakness.